Good day, good day. Okay, I did not intend for this to be the comprehensive all things Aussie, Oz, whatever, review. Mostly centered on one company, but I am going to show similar things from another company that used to be through Cabela's, so I don't know if you can still get that kind of thing through Bass Pro Shops or not. So I don't want to give you false hopes in case you see something that's really more what you wanted, but they don't carry it in Kakadu or however it's pronounced. I had talked about some of these items, I'm positive, before in Western shirts and headwear, at least one of the hiking headwear videos. And one of the shirts I could not find. I don't know why. I just had it out recently and didn't end up wearing it. But it's a different weave of the canvas. And I forget which one it was called. They have fancy names for all of them, like Turak and Southern Cross or something. I did track down most of the hats, or four of the hats anyway, from one company and three hats from the other company, and I'm pretty sure I showed, like I said, most of these before. But since we're doing the thing, might as well do the thing. And like I said in the description, I think it's a little bit late to be doing this video for most Yanks or Canadians. It's already too cold for a lot of this stuff. But here in California, again, we had a really long, prolonged, hot summer. And so I'm only just starting to wear flannel shirts and things like that now. So I still might get some use out of these kind of things in the winter that it's really too hot to wear here in the summer. Australia is supposedly even hotter than summer here in part of it, and even more humid than summer here in part of it. So whether or not they wear a lot of this stuff in their summer, which is starting in 2 weeks, I don't know. The one jacket that's here, I did also feature in my zombie essentials survival video that I just did like a week or two ago. And so I won't go too deep into that one, but I will show it again. And there's a follow-up video that I want to do to this before we even get started that I have been putting off for a long time. And that will likely come toward the springtime. Stay tuned, because again, winter, I try to keep these things, relatively seasonal, even if I have something that, I think is important to review. If nobody's going to watch that kind of review in January, there's not much point in doing that review in January. Whereas right now, this is relatively relevant because they had a big sale for the Black Friday last month, like everybody else did, but almost nothing that I wanted was on sale. Most of the stuff that I still wanted that wasn't on sale, they didn't have my size. So I ended up getting 2 shirts and 2 jackets to add to my collection of stuff that I already had. And they just finally arrived like well over a week later than I thought they would. How long they've been sitting in Bakersfield, I don't know. But okay, so to begin with, the Aussie thing was kind of, like I said, I'll start from the beginning because I know I've discussed this before. A lot of it was kind of based on American Western fashion already, because they have their own like country music scene there that's kind of based on American country music, but then they also have their own kind of styles that influenced other kind of styles. And I think we've been given some misinformation. Like ordinarily I would include this in the indie playlist, but I don't, because we had all heard that indie wore an Australian style cowboy hat at some point, and I don't think that's actually true. He wore an English hat, and that company's still around, and they're still on Savile Row or something, and they still make you really expensive hats if you show up. And so, of course, this gets called an indie hat, even though it's not technically an indie hat. The crown is different. This is not even an Aussie hat. this was some Cody James made in China hat or whatever, and exclusively available at Boot Barn. So there's nothing Australian about this hat really at all, except that it's has a pinched front crown and a standard 3.5 brim or whatever, and it has leather instead of the cloth gross grain or grow grain or whatever hat band. Whoops. But this one's crushable, unlike a true indie hat. I'm just wearing it because I put the other one away because it was a size too small, and we're getting out a season of brown hats. I should be wearing more of a festive holiday hat. I don't know, whatever. I'm also wearing a flannel shirt, which is not technically Aussie Cowboy either. But so anyway, so this one, which I think I've shown before, is Outback Trading, which is a different company again, Aussie Adventure Collection, and it's got a little picture of a little drover guy on the inside. And again, this was supposed to be a waxed canvas, but isn't really waterproof. I don't know what kind of coating is on here, but the rain goes right here and gets your head all wet. But this is the kind of thing that is also meant to be based on an indie hat, but is not an indie hat, but is kind of an indie hat, but it's a canvas hat that's not waterproof-ish or wants to be or something. But the other thing, you can pin up the sides or snap in this case, because Aussies are famous for wanting to snap up the sides of their hats or something, even though they also got that from the Brits first, I think. Don't know all of the history of that exactly, except what we've seen. But again, why anybody would want to snap up both sides of the hat, I have no idea. I'm pretty sure it's the left side that should be snapped up. Although you'd think it would be the right side, because if you're carrying your rifle or whatever while marching, or using your walkie-talkie or throwing a grenade or whatever the deal was. But for whatever reason, it's typically the left-hand side that I think snaps up. But on this one, you can do both sides and feel silly. But this hat, apart from having a very round crown, which doesn't fit my head as well as one with a more oval crown, does okay. It has, a terry cloth kind of sweatband, and it has a place where you can actually put a decent shoestring, which is more of a necessity than a hat like this that just blows away and you never see it again. And so I got this one several years ago, and I had shown the more recent version I got with the mesh that is totally horrible and has worse brim. And it's in the garage right now. It's never been worn. And it's in one of my hiking hat videos, probably video number 2, not 3, but maybe it was 3. Don't remember. But many, many people already watched that video, so maybe you saw that part already, so there's no reason to go on and on and on. Anyway, similar to that, though, same company, but a different style, was this mesh version, which is one of my ultimate go-to hats, even though it got neglected like crazy this year, and you can see all the dust collected on it. And this one actually is a more waterproof surface, but with the mesh, then it's not really going to be waterproof because, yeah. So I use this more in summer, which is not a wet season here, whereas that one is a little bit warm. It's a little bit mid-season thing, whereas a felt thing like this is usually too warm until, again, now finally it's cooled down now that November's over and I can wear felt hats finally. Whereas this, I have other cheaper ones from Duluth that I wear way more often than this one. So this one's, yeah, it's a little bit neglected, but not the end of the world. But the sizing on these was kind of awkward, though. I had to, like, this one's a medium and it fits correctly. And then I have one without the mesh where it's solid piece. And I think I got that in a medium, whereas this black one I got in a small, I think, yeah, small, because the medium ran way too big. And now the small is a bit too small, whereas this one, which also has a proper string, fits pretty much perfect. And I can wear a bandana under it if I really want to, but I don't have to. It's not, it's still a little bit of a round crown, so it's not perfect, but with the string, it's not going anywhere. So overall, this hat does well. Whereas this hat in the smaller size, less well. But again, when I bought the medium of this, I had to return it immediately because it really did not want to stay put. But so this is what it looks like without the mesh, except just in a different color. And so again, definitely not an indie hat, definitely a totally different crown. But here we have side vents instead of mesh, and this big medallion, and a leather band instead of, again, an indie hat would have a nylon band or some other kind of cloth band. And same little drover guy in there. Show yourself, drover guy. There he is riding in the range or the Outback. And there's a little guy there. And so that's, but part of the reason I also got it in black is because I got the vest, which is now a size too small. But the vest is oil skin, waterproof. What good that does you when your sleeves are exposed, I don't know. Again, I live in a dry climate, so I let these things dry out and I just use them as trail wear. This one hasn't been as abused. I had a brown one that I wore over my suspenders, and it kind of shredded this flannel inside. And since it's oil skin, you can't really throw it in the washer. You have to just kind of hose it off and let it air dry. So I didn't just damage the interior throwing it in the washer or the dryer or anything. And most of the time it was just too warm to hike in with the flannel. And the rest of it, just get sweaty really fast. And without the sleeves, you have nowhere to kind of put it. You're kind of committed to wearing it. But then on cooler days, like I said, I could wear it over the thing and it would do okay. The zipper and the snaps, this is going to be a recurring theme. And the leather collar, another thing where I don't know how well these wash. The other company has lots of leather collars too. We'll get into that. But this has basic, pocket configuration. You don't have 8 billion pockets all competing with each other. That was one of the features I really liked. It did have interior pockets, one with a zipper and one without, and a little tag about its lifestyle thing or whatever. So Kakadu has a couple different vests that are not the exact same as this. The one style that I really like that I showed before in the vests video that I just did about a month ago, and I probably showed this one too, I don't remember. So like I said, I won't go on and on and on about the vests except to, say that. But this, again, was a true oil skin, which, your results may vary. Like I said, I don't live in England, so I don't really need that very much. I don't live in Seattle area. So most of the time it just gets on your car seats or smears on your fingers or everything else. And the fact that you can't, just throw it in the washing machine is kind of annoying. But certain items, it is or should be like that. Where's the other one? Oh, it's under here. Hang on. 1 second. This is the jacket. I'll show that one after. Like I said, this was the Delta vest. Ignore the little Aussie patches I added, but it comes with that kind of logo. I think I showed this hat before too. Another waxed cotton or oil skin that I'm trying to let it dry out. But they don't sell that hat anymore, I don't think. But at the time, everything they had was pretty much waxed, so it was kind of annoying. But you have a bit of a locker loop, these stitches that are printed just for show. This one does have a game pocket in the back, which, again, your results may vary how much that's useful. I did try to order one of these in the other color in a larger size, and it was pretty much all sold out, so hopefully I can get it again in the future. But you can see, like I showed off in, I think, the previous, this thing just has 8 million pockets. And a lot of times this many pockets is confusing or not that useful as you'd want it to be or whatever, and it's got little loopy doopies, but it does have this, which is nice that the other one doesn't have. So instead of a zipper and snaps and a storm flap, we just have this doohickey that you can use instead of the zipper. Again, this one being not too small on me, but smaller. That's nice that I can still snap that up, especially if I don't want to zip the whole thing. Because again, vests, once you put it on, you're kind of committed to it. There's no tying it around your waist or whatever. And they're typically a little more bulky than will fit in a, I don't know, like a booty pack or whatever you call it, fanny pack. And then it has this thing that, I don't know if that's just for your sunglasses or your game tags or something. Sideways pocket, which is unique. I've never really seen a sideways pocket before, but Velcro. And so some of you may love Velcro, some of you may despise it. I don't know. But this is pretty much all Velcro. So at least not a ton of things that can be mechanical failures. The other one, of course, having all snaps. Velcro and snaps are both about the same amount of decibels if you're worried about scaring, game, I think. But I think the other vest is less meant to be a hunty vest than an all-purpose vest. Whereas this one, I think you could argue that it's more along the lines of a traditional fishing vest. But again, having these, this camera is just not going out. Having these zipper pockets on top of cargo pockets, that can be an issue where, you start to get too many things stacked and it becomes awkward. So I don't really like that. I wish they would have moved the zipper pockets up and eliminated some other ones or something rather than having stacked pockets. So we'll talk about that more in a minute too, don't worry. But a fairly lightweight canvas. I don't know the weights of all their canvas. I tend to try to compare to LL Bean because they have the lightweight canvas shirts and then they have the super durable canvas that they used for their hunting jackets and their shirt jacks for a while there. I don't know if they still use the same material for their field coat. This one kind of in the middle. So most of the Kakadu stuff, I, again, tried to buy it to get a heavier canvas than the LL Bean stuff, the super lightweight stuff, but not necessarily expecting it all to be the heavy duty stuff. Because again, I don't know who else does canvas like those field coats. I haven't found any, but I know they're out there. Carhartt and stuff maybe, but then you're having less options because Carhartt doesn't do the same kind of fashion lines or whatever. So anyway, so this jacket, again, that I've had, that I've worn a bit, but not that much. Again, with the leather collar. This one has the belt for the waist, like a lot of traditional old jackets, no drawstrings here. Button flap chest pockets, no button in the, but a flap hip pockets. But again, simple, only 4 pockets. The sleeve's not terrible. The sizing, not terrible. It's a medium, so it's a little small on me, but it's big for a medium for sure. It has a button front, and the buttons are a little bit stingy, kind of not that much fun to work with. And an older label, but you can still see the dancing or boxing kangaroos rather. And I've had this for many years and haven't used it all that much because it's a little heavy for hiking because it's lined. It's fully lined on the inside with a slightly lighter weight material and then a heavier weight canvas. And I think all their jackets are basically a version of that. There's nothing insulated in any of them that I know of. They all kind of depend on that second layer to be the closest thing you're getting to insulation. But they do run warm for warm weather because they're double lined and thick, fairly thick material. And baggy is going to give me grief, but that's okay. because it needs a little bit of adjustment. Because I didn't end up wearing it when I said I was going to 2 weeks ago or whatever when I made that video, because then I wore something else that day and then the weather changed 3 more times since then or something. No big deal. So sticking with jackets then, I guess, and then we'll finish. I'll go back to the hats maybe before the shirts. Okay, so I just ordered 2 jackets. Again, neither of them were at sale price. They were both full price. Judging from that one being a medium and what the shirts and the vest and all feel like, I felt confident about the sizing that a large would still be big enough for me, even though I've been having a lot of issues in leather jackets and motorcycle jackets. I need a double XL. Aviator jackets, I need an XL or not a flight pocket pilot, blah, blah. This one they call a bomber jacket. So being a flight jacket and being one of theirs, I felt confident buying large, and I'm pretty sure that sizing is accurate. So we do have, again, a locker loop and a leather collar. This leather collar, though, is not stiff and thick like the other ones. So maybe it would do better in a washing machine. What's this called? The Balmain Bomber. Everybody calls everything a bomber jacket, even if that's not the most entirely correct classification. And it's got like a map and a logo and la-di-da-di-da printed on the inside. But the material on the outside is not what I was expecting. It's nothing like the LL Bean canvas. The sleeves just have this, which should be fine. How long it lasts before it stretches all out and I have to get it tailored, I don't know, but it's elastic. It seems pretty rigid. I already tried it on. So obviously, it's not in the bag. It looks like it has gussets for the shoulders, but it's more for show than any real bi-swing back. It has this seam across the back, which is probably just so they could use smaller bits of material or whatever. It has 3 pockets on the front left and then 2 pockets on the other side. Now, I might as well put it on and stand up. This is where we get into the issues. So what I was discussing, this overall sizing, not bad. It does have a zipper and rivets, or whatever you call these, typical like Levi's. But the zipper's on the wrong side. And as soon as I went to take it out of the bag, this rivet busted off entirely. Can we see that? It was bent and not correctly done or something and popped right off. So I tugged the rest of them to see how they would react, treating them like snaps to see if they would all break too. And they did not, but it did completely rip the buttonhole on this side just with my finger. So I'm going to have to, now ordinarily I would howl and moan and scream, I'm sending it right back. But in this case, since I have to get some other things modified with the leather guy next week or this week or next month, I'm just going to try and see if he can find some way to reinforce this placket. It's supposed to be a storm, flap, but it's too flimsy to really do anything. It's more for show. But if I wanted to use the rivets as buttons instead of the backwards zipper, I'd like to have these buttonholes not be complete dog crap and the fabric not being this flimsy garbage. Because, yeah, I was really expecting something more durable than something that I could literally pull apart with my finger on accident in 5 seconds. So I'm going to really show this off and have a good good look, but of course the camera doesn't want to cooperate. But yeah, this was literally right out of the bag. Did this, not on the job, not abusing it, not doing anything silly, literally just pulling the rivet out of the hole. And, you know, whatever. Then the zipper has this pull tab thingy that I don't really care for the look of it because it dangles down if you have it, you know, buttoned instead of zipped up. But if you're just using it as a jacket, you're going to want to zip it more than you're going to want to button it anyway. And just ignore the storm flap, which only has, what, 4 technically buttons anyway, so it doesn't have enough buttons to really be buttoned terribly effectively without showing gaps. Because if I just unzip that and button it here and here, when the elastic band rides up and all that, you know, you're going to end up with this kind of awkward looking thing, you know, going on half the time, which if you're out in the middle of nowhere won't matter to you all that much. So it does have, again, Velcro cargo pockets. They're not the biggest cargo pockets, and the problem is they put bigger hand pockets under the cargo pockets. So instead of having standard hand pockets or big cargo pockets, instead you have this awkward 2-pocket nonsense. So when I get it modified, I'm probably going to have him just sew this shut, because, you know, if you did have rain, you would have water collecting in this behind your flap pocket, which makes no sense at all, and it's not a weatherproof interior that I know of. This is at not the worst angle compared to some other things. This is actually kind of okay that this is angled, but it also has this rivet instead of a snap or Velcro, so it's kind of, you have to remember that everything is riveted here and not as easy. It's old school, you know. So it's not the worst. Ordinarily, I would say I want more, you know, more things that are riveted like this, but they have to be good quality rivets like Levi's, not this junk. Fortunately, I have some from Duluth still that I can replace this one if I really want to. Although whether or not I'll ever need to rivet the collar all the way up when, again, the zipper goes to the same spots. But yeah, this double pocket is, I don't know who designed this. This is just stupid. I would rather have big cargo pockets than a hand pocket that's in the wrong place. So that's most of what was annoying about this jacket is, yeah, the canvas is not quite as nice as I would like. But like I said, the sleeve length is not terrible. The sleeve underarms is not terrible. You got a zipper pocket here again, same as the other one, and an open pocket here. So for a standard bomber jacket, you know, not a total fail or anything, just not as durable as the canvas on that other field coat or whatever you want to call it. So I ordered this one. Now they do, I think, have a full drover model. Obviously, I don't need that, or duster, if you want to call it. That's a bit excessive. I'm not on a horse all day in the rain. So I got this one. Again, full price, but hopefully a little more useful for my scenarios, my typical. I hesitate to call this a safari jacket because it's a little more Western style. I know people love to throw around the term safari jacket. Again, one of those videos I'll be doing more come spring, much more intensive. And this one will likely be included in that if I don't return it. But here we have the same exact canvas as that one, though. So a bit thin and crappy compared to the other one that's a bit small on me. And I ordered it in a large again because that was one of the sizes that were available. It has this extra chin snap, and the leather here is a bit thicker, more of what I expect from them. But the canvas is definitely not what I expect from them. This canvas is the same junk as the previous jacket, but it's not waxed, and it does have the exact same storm flap, but this time with snaps. So hopefully the snaps are better than their rivets, which are complete junk. Okay, just what, but nice big cargo pocket, drawstring, same as the other. One of the other, I don't remember. Maybe none of these things. I don't know. I have other things that have drawstrings in them anyway. Maybe I'm confusing. But it also has these half belt cinch things. I don't know if that's redundant or not, if you know, either or. But without the belt around the exterior, I do like, same as having the belt, I like being able to tie the drawstrings and have the jacket just cinch in the front like that instead of having to snap and zip and blah, blah, blah. I can, if I'm warm, I can just tie it here at the waist and not have to deal with it if it's windy. Warning. Uh-oh, big warning label. This ought to be fun. Please read before using this. Oh, holster product. Oh, okay, so it's got a sidearm carry hidden feature or something. I didn't buy it for that reason. Okay, but do not carry a handgun with a live cartridge in the chamber immediately in front of the firing pin in case of accidental discharge. Okay, so this is, yeah. Do not attempt to cock a handgun while it is in the holster. Okay, so yeah, I don't typically associate cowboy wear with handguns that come with magazines instead of revolvers, but if you're into that aspect of it, then you can worry about the warning label. Okay, this is tiny. This is the smallest print ever. I don't know if I'm going to be able to read that without a magnifying glass. I have good eyesight, by the way. This is microscopic, and there's a glare from the light, which makes it harder. And these LED lights are not the same as old bulbs. Give me a break. Okay. Wow. So with all the glare and the micro type, I don't know if I can read this at all. Established from working class roots? I don't know. Does anyone want to bear with me while I run to the other room and get a spyglass? I know this is a live broadcast, and so I don't usually like to do that kind of thing, but anyway, so the chest pocket here is not angled. It does have a leather face, so another thing that can be an issue. Not angled, but pretty deep. So I don't, you know. So I don't think that's an embossed texture. It might be. The regular cargo pockets, just canvas. The inner pocket here is just a standard little wallet pocket. It's not even that deep that I thought it would be. So that's not your concealed carry pocket, I hope. I don't think you're supposed to wear this. Yeah, it's got a bigger pocket here. Yeah, that's bigger. I think they're just talking about the holsters being for your belt because it has these snaps on the side that you can do or undo. And it has snaps. It has the snap at the bottom that ordinarily you would never ever use because why would you restrict your walking that much? Has a snap. No, okay, I'm wrong. There's only two. Yeah, it's a back. There's two snaps in the back vent, but not a center back snap or anything. So okay, get the chair a little bit. But here's where we have the issue, because again, false unboxing. I already tried it on, and I might have to get the sleeves modified because they're too long. I love when sleeves are this long, but then way too tight that you can't even get your arm into them. I don't know who designed this, but they did a fairly terrible job because it's totally straight to here, and then they put the Duluth style gusset, but the gusset's too small and in the wrong spot, kind of like Duluth does, but worse. And so this not being insulated, again, just 2 layers and a thin, flimsy garbage canvas, I can't wear a sweater under this comfortably. So it's not going to be warm enough for what I bought it for. So once again, it's kind of a redundant article that, now if I'm just hiking, that's not going to bother me that much because I'm not doing acrobatics with my arms, I'm just walking. So just getting the sleeves shortened, it would still be okay for hiking. But for anything else, and now it has a bi-swing back, but you can really see where it's pinched, where it's not quite wide enough, and it has a cape. But again, with a cape, this should be waterproofed, at least waterproof wax your cape. The cape doesn't come down as far as it should, especially for rain. There's no caping in the front, just in the back, and it's not vented. Otherwise, I would say, oh, it's a back vent. But since it's no mesh inside or anything, it can't be a proper vent. Yeah, you're not venting anything. You just have this extra flap of cloth. So again, the only purpose this serves is for rain shedding, and it's not really doing that correctly like a true drover. And as you saw, it comes down decently far for a longer jacket. Not quite as far as a true safari jacket, maybe originally. And with an ugly square cut, total workwear instead of more stylish with a sport coat collar and all that. So once again, we have a product that's kind of worst of both worlds. You'll either love it or you'll hate it. The sleeves, I hate it. So, you know, like I said, I'm very tempted because I got this to be kind of a winter piece because, like I said, that other one's pretty heavy, but it's too small to really button up. So I thought, well, this one will be perfect. Well, it's not too small to button up. And for some reason, the zipper's on the correct side, unlike the bomber jacket. When I said the other one, I mean the field coat, not the bomber jacket. Bomber. Windbreaker. But yeah, same exact kind of mid-weight, not totally flimsy canvas, but definitely, as we saw with the rip that my finger put in it, not not a super durable canvas. So would I rate it as overpriced? Yes. Would I rate it as totally worthless? No. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, design flaw. I mean, I'm giving it a D, right? The bomber, if I was just going to wear it as a lightweight jacket and not abuse it, I guess I could give it a C or a B, but since they're supposed to be the rugged, tough, outdoorsy Outback company, it's a D for that. Again, as just a jacket. Does it fit fine? Yes. Will it work okay? Sure. Is it a decent color? Yeah, I guess. But there's nothing spectacular about it. The zipper's on the wrong side. It has rivets that are complete junk. So shirts. Like I said, I think I showed this one before. This one I've probably worn the most. I don't remember what the name of this one was. It's also a medium and it still fits. So again, with their giant sizing, it has metal buttons, which usually I have issues with things that come with metal buttons because they usually break off and then you try and resew them and they don't want to sew and blah, blah, blah. But this one's done okay. No flap on the pocket, but it does have 2 decent chest pockets and it has this contrasty kind of thing going on. I don't know if they still offer this shirt. I don't remember if I paid full price for it at the time, but it's got a couple vents on the back under the yoke. It has a yoke. It has a big heavy duty locker loop. So stuff like this is not really comfortable to wear without a shirt underneath it. So that's why I'm saying even though it's not the heaviest canvas, they're usually too hot to wear because you can't wear it just by itself very much without all these tags and things annoying you and extra seams and blah, blah, blah. But it has all this metal buttons and things. Oh, did I show the snap bottom cuffs of the sleeves that need to be shortened have snaps with another leather accent trim thing going on. So a little too long and some extra seams and junk going on that, again, I'm going to have the guy just chop all that right off and move that cuff up 2 or 3 good inches, or maybe 4. See how it goes. This one, let's see. Okay, these are all the same thing in different colors. So I got a brown one that I haven't worn. I got a blue one that I haven't worn. I got this, was supposed to be the same color as that vest. They called it mustard, but it's pumpkin. This is like way more orange than it looks on camera. Oh my God, this camera is making this look like a completely different color. What does it do to this one? Even lighter, even more pale. Okay, well, this one is more accurate to the color that this was supposed to be. And of course, I also have it in dark green with the black collar instead of the brown collar. And the blue one, I think, has a brown collar for some reason. Should have had a black collar. I don't know what colors they still offer, and I don't know what sizes are still available, but these are all medium. And like I said, they all still fit me, where many companies now I need an extra large. They're not the most necessarily best fitting, but they're generous enough that I can still wear them. But again, the material being the wrong weight for cold, or the wrong feel for, they're not flannel. So in cold weather, they don't, and then in hot weather, they're way too hot. But they do have these giant, beautiful pockets on the chests, very reminiscent of, styles from 100 years ago when they didn't just give you some, flimsy little thing that barely fits a couple papers or a credit card or whatever. I mean, this is what mountaineering shirts, used to just have with true bellows. I don't know if these are true bellows or not. Let's look into that. And then it has this doohickey, which is just there as far as I'm concerned. I don't know what that's for. It has these epaulettes with buttons, and not all the epaulettes are the same length. This one has extra long epaulettes. This one has really short epaulettes. This one came later and has a different texture than the other ones. So the canvas is more similar to those jackets that I just showed. So for a shirt, it's a really heavy duty canvas. And like I said, I have that other one somewhere that I couldn't find. But for a jacket, it's not, it's on the verge. It's borderline, it's questionable. Yeah, I almost sent this one back, but then I couldn't get the other color or whatever. So I kept the Great Pumpkin shirt. So yeah, your results may vary. This one, also medium. So at the time I wasn't willing to gamble on the large. I went with the medium. So this time in the sale, I was able to get large in a different shirt on sale. They didn't have the other sizes and colors and things that I wanted. These were the only 2 that were on sale that I would even consider buying. And so I got, and it has this flimsier leather again now. I don't know how that's going to do in the wash. But it is a larger size. This time with a true kind of Western looking pocket, but with no flaps. So 2 chest pockets, but now with snaps instead of those big buttons. And this is called the something else shirt. Oh, can I read this? No, this is printed even worse. I can read it maybe. Established from working class roots, and with over, I don't know, 40 decades maybe in workwear industry, the Kakadu brand has the experience and knowledge. The comes something smeared with time. Okay, I'm not sure that that's correct English there. Who wrote this? I don't know. A combination of durable materials, quality fittings, and styles based on function and purpose has earpud earned us a reputation for producing some of the toughest, innovative, maybe, and reliable workwear, outerwear around. Strong, rugged canvas, top grain cowhide, and antique brass hardware. Like I said, all substandard compared to what they used to offer 10 years ago, seems like. Or whenever I ordered that other thing. Something, give our products the guts. Oh, okay. To get the job done time and time again. Well, like I said, we'll see how that goes, because I'm going to throw this into the rotation, even though I'm, technically in holiday mode and not durable worky wear guy mode or whatever. But there's overlap. We're still got 2 good weeks until, the big day or whatever. And I got it in the other color because, like I said, this one has a lighter brown leather and yada, yada, yada. And this one is they pretty much have 2 main colors for all their canvas because that's easy. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the exact same material as the jacket. So like I said, I would expect that, again, a shirt, okay, if it rips a bit and, you have to patch it or whatever. And, if you're really rough on a canvas shirt, because again, this isn't pants, this is a shirt. That's one thing. But a jacket should be able to withstand a fair amount of turmoil if I'm, using it for the purposes of ruggedy, riggy, outsidey, biggie, the bestest ever thing, So I would say a little bit of false claim there with the jackaroonies that they're not going to stand up to actual riggers. Okay, so yeah, this is a long video. I don't care. We're down to 4 hats. Okay, like I said, I'm not going to go on and on about all these products exactly because I covered some of them in Western shirts. I covered some of them in vests. I covered some of them in Zombie Apocalypse. I'll be covering 1 or 2 of these jackets again in the spring. And so if anybody has any questions between now and March, I'm sure we will have addressed those already. And I didn't have to get the magnifying glass to read the tag. So now they have a whole bunch of different hats, and some of them I think are a gimmick, like the Soka, if you're buying leather hats instead of felt, obviously there's going to be drawbacks or whatever. It's not a non-breathable fabric, but it's leather. I mean, what do you think? It's heavier. It's da-da-da. So 2 of these though are the kangaroo, which again I'll do those second. So this one is okay. I didn't write down the names of all the shirts because I can't remember. They're Turak and whatever the other one is that I like. Obviously I like it. I bought 5 of them. Even though I don't wear them as much as, again, I would prefer. So this one I'm positive I ordered the Alice and they sent me the Ichuka, okay? Because the hat band is different. It doesn't have the little kangaroo guy. And this one has only 3 holes on the one side, this one has 3 holes on both sides. Some of them only have 3 holes on one side, I think. Or maybe I'm wrong. Okay, well, anyway. They don't have, vented crowns or proper pinches or whatever. They just kind of take their own shape with time. I found that the suede one, I know a lot of people won't want to wear a rough out hat if it's, going to be wet, or they'll want to waterproof it and ruin the nap or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Again, I live in a dry climate. I don't have to worry about it. If I know it's going to rain, I won't wear this hat. Okay. These vents are probably not quite as big as you would like, but they're there. They're on both sides. Like I said, I think they have some models that have one side. I don't know. But this hat band is different than the other one with this closure. There's a seam in the back. So if you're one of those people that I've seen on YouTube who wears your hat backwards and put the seam in the wrong place, you're doing it wrong. The thing goes in the front with the pinchy tiers, okay? Even if it doesn't have proper, venting and smushies and all the things that people do with felt hats. I don't know if you could do that with this, if there's some way you could maybe modify it. I don't know anybody who's ever tried. I don't know that I would ever try. Like I said, they kind of get smushed when you stack them with other hats anyway. So it is what it is. And I like wearing this kind of thing around the house a lot. I don't know that I would like wearing it hiking so much. The felt ones, again, hit or miss, depends on the season. Some seasons, I'm sweating right now a little bit because I'm wearing a flannel shirt and a felt hat indoors, and it's not exactly freezing in the house, but it's not too warm in here that I'm, suffering. Same with this one. I could put this on, and right now in this current, you can see I'm a little bit wet, but not terrible. But the basic fit is not bad. In fact, the fit overall is more comfortable than that mesh one that I showed earlier, where it takes a while for it to kind of form to your head, and then okay, now I'm just used to wearing it. This one, it's comfortable right off the bat. Boom, done. The only thing that's not that comfortable is the drawstring that I had to put extra tight because of the wind. Because I have been wearing this hat lately and it has been windy. Okay, so and then the underside is the, I don't know, what do you want to call it? The treated side or something, not the fur side. So overall, and this is medium, they're not fitted. No, my hair looks terrible. What are you going to do? I'm going to be trying on 4 hats, so whatever. But so yeah, this is the Ichuka, but again, medium. All the hats are pretty much not fitted, so whichever size is best for you. So the next hat that I got a long time ago, it does not get worn as much because it is heavier. And I'm positive I showed this in one of the videos, but I think this one was called the Spaniard, and it just has a couple little vents, even though it's a full uncut grain leather. There's a bit of suede showing here where it's probably been sanded a little bit, but basically it's thick the whole way through. And I had to argue with the guy that the brim was not the full length brim, and he says no, they're all cut with the same knife and yada yada. It's got this pretty much the exact same hat band, but it has this embossed deal going on, so of course I liked it for that. And this one, made in China. They're probably all made in China, but also medium and whatever that says. And this is your little doohickey for the strings. I just didn't show that in the previous one. And I haven't had any issue with these holes ripping or anything. The vents are way close to the top, though, you can see on this model. So, like I'm saying, if you're buying a full leather hat, this is really not going to breathe. But overall, it still fits pretty decent. And I haven't had an issue with it blowing off because it weighs 5 pounds, right? Well, 2. But it doesn't look the same. It's a little bit more of a Clint Eastwoody kind of vibe, maybe, or Billy the Kid. Again, no venting going on with the crown or anything. It's just a straight. Now, a lot of people think Crocodile Dundee wears a hat like this, but his hat was, in fact, black felt, kind of shaped like this. And then he had the teeth instead of this. So if I got some teeth and put them on here, everybody would think this was a Crocodile Dundee hat, But lo and behold, it's not actually a Crocodile Dundee hat because it's not felt. So if you go to their website and you see their Crocodile Dundee hats that are like this, but I think are in probably this suede, they are not true Crocodile Dundee hats. They're false, but nobody at Halloween will care. They won't know the difference. This one has this extra kind of hat band rim thing going on here. Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe they all have that and I just didn't notice. That one has it too. This one, I guess I just noticed it because the color is different. How much that does for really doing anything for your sweat, I don't know. Again, if it's too hot and I'm sweating, I'm not wearing this hat because it's 3 pounds of leather. I might be still wearing this hat, but this gets sweaty fast enough. But it's a little bit more of a lightweight. So again, they might have just gone cheap on me because I'm sure I got this one after I got that one. But overall, deal with that later. Overall, fine. Okay, so this one is the Southern Cross hat because it has your little Australian constellation deal going on here on both sides, not just one side. And it has this ringer kind of thing. I don't know. I haven't decided if I want to take that off and replace it with something like better, but it's kind of held in by this little loop. So not sure what I would do with that. Again, same exact teardrop shape. And this is where Australian cowboy and American cowboy do kind of differ because, of course, the American cowboy, you'll have the cattleman crown, you know, a lot more prominent. I'm sure they offer models that have that kind of thing going on, but I've not been interested in buying them because I can just go to Boot Barn and get something like that, not have to, you know, deal with it. This one I didn't get too elaborate with the string, but this does okay. I've worn it just enough that you can see the sweat maybe in the front. You see the sweat there a little bit. Yeah, a tiny little bit of a ring. The problem I've had with these, even though they're nice and lightweight for the trail, is they're too lightweight. They bounce around on the head a lot. This is kangaroo and it's suede, so it's been, you know, reduced by half or whatever. And kangaroo is a thin leather that's just super durable or whatever. But yeah, this turned out to not be the ideal hiking hat. If they're in the conditions where this hat seems appealing, I'm probably wearing a mesh hat or a boonie hat instead of this one. So again, a nice one for wearing around the house more than what I actually bought it for. So there's that. But it is a nice autumn color. Goes great with the mustardy shirt or vest or whatever more than the brown color shirts and vests and things. So it matches good, but yeah, I don't know. I don't wear this one near as much as the Ichuka. I do get a fair amount more use, I think, out of that. So I decided that I would try and get the full leather kangaroo one and hope to have a little more heavyweight. That not really any difference. Still a very lightweight hat. I don't know when they switched to this label, how much more recent this was. I've had this one for a while, but it's newer than the other ones, I think. Like I said, it got a bit smushed. That's not really from wear. That's from stacking them on top of other ones. This is the little kangaroo guy that comes on the Alice one that was supposed to be on my Ichuka one. You can see the hat band is much nicer. Not all that loose tie together stuff going on. Sewed down. The pebble grain, really nice. The brown, really nice. The vents, decent. But still going to blow away in half a breeze. So yeah, a little bit disappointing there because I was really looking forward to, you know, all the advantages of kangaroo leather. But I think kangaroo leather is also, if I heard the boot guys correctly last week, a leather that does not breathe. I think kudu and kangaroo and maybe ostrich are all kind of the same thing, where unlike the cowhide. But of course, if you have cowhide this thick, it doesn't matter if it breathes because you're still sweating like a pig. And if your vents are tiny and at the top, they're not doing a whole lot. So yeah, I wish they would vent these a little bit more. But like I said, for autumn and such, this is not terrible overall. I don't have too much trouble. I do get sweaty and it doesn't really absorb the sweat. But typically with those other hats, I'm wearing a bandana anyway. So I can't say that those other style of hats vent or catch sweat better or worse or not, because I'm not usually reliant on the hat for doing all of that. So maybe I should be wearing bandanas with these Aussie ones too. But anyway, so that's pretty much most of my Kakadu stuff that matters. A nice long hour-long ramble, whatever. Like I said, what I'm going to do with that one jacket, I don't know if I'll return it or not. That other one, I'll see if I can modify it and fix it, but to just wear it as a knock-around jacket. A little tear in the bottom isn't the end of the world at the moment. But definitely, like I said, disappointing if you needed that for more of a chore coat. And I guess that's about it. Like I said, if there's any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I don't know who's going to watch this far anyway, but maybe somebody will.